Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode. This week I'm going to be talking about Luminosity mask and this little panel off to the side that I have in my Photoshop. I've been getting a lot of questions about it, so I figured I'd just take the time to do a quick episode, talk about what this is, what it does, and how I use it to edit my photos. First of all, this is a actions panel that I used from Tony Kuiper. He makes probably the best panel out there for luminosity mask. I'll put a link in the bottom of the video, and you can go check it out. It's not free, but it's well worth the price. I think it's like $30. I've been using it for a couple of years now with my editing, and it's really great. So you guys can go check that out. If you don't want to pay the money for it, there are ways to create luminosity mask on your own. This panel just makes it really easy because all I have to do is click a button and there it is. But anyways, let's just go ahead and get started and take a look at what this does. We're going to be mostly looking at this portion of the panel right here. This is where I do create my luminosity mask. And what a luminosity mask basically is or does is it allows me to make a selection based on the tones in the image that I'm working on. So you'll see here we have your darks or shadows, your midtones, and your lights or highlights. And the way this is set up, these buttons actually kind of correspond with the range of tones that it covers to create a selection or mask when you click them. So it's really cool how that does that. But let me create an example here so you can see kind of what I'm talking about. So I'm going to click on the darks 3, and you'll see I get the marching ants, and I always create a levels adjustment when I'm working with luminosity mask. So we'll click on the level adjustment, and you'll see created a mask. And what it did is it actually targeted all of the shadows and darks that's in this tonal range, kind of this dark all the way up to getting closer into your midtones. So now I've got a mask that has been created that targets only that area. So let me go into the levels, and if you haven't used levels before, the slider on your left, this adjusts your shadows, and this is your midtones, and this over here of course is your highlights. But since we've targeted specifically this shadow region here, we're only going to be really affecting that area, so it gives you a real nice precise control over that. So let me just make a kind of adjustment here that I would normally do. So I'm going to pull the midpoint up to pull out a little bit more detail in the shadow area there, but then I'm actually going to push a little bit. I'm going to kind of push the floor of that darks a little bit so that it makes it kind of more contrasty, but you do get more detail when using that. So I'm going to do the before and after. So there's the before. It's kind of flat. Look in these regions right here especially. And then you make the adjustment. You've got a little bit more detail, but it's more contrasty, which is nice. So let's make another adjustment. This time we'll do the midtones 3. And I like that one because it's kind of like a general selection of everything in your midtones. Create another levels adjustment. And we'll take a look at the mask that it created. You see it's kind of everything, but it does exclude a lot of those darker areas or the dark shadowy areas, so you can more focus on the midtones. So let's make another adjustment. I'm making it a little more contrasty, if that's a word, contrasty. Let's do the before, and that's the after. And the other one that I really like to use is, of course, targeting my highlights, especially in this area up here. Let me create another levels adjustment, and you'll see it targeted my clouds. I'm actually going to go ahead. You can fine-tune the mask, but I just typically, if it has something I don't want in the mask, I'll just paint it out. I'll probably do it a little more carefully than I'm doing right here, but for the sake of the video I'm just going to do it kind of quickly. because I really only want to make the adjustment in my sky. Oops, wrong way. So I'm actually pulling down the highlights, and it's only affecting the sky area here, which is where I had the biggest problem. It was kind of washed out, overexposed. But by using the luminosity mask and targeting just that region, we can make a levels adjustment that only targets that area, so we have, again, more precise controls over the different areas we're targeting, whether it be our shadows, our midtones, or our highlights. So again, just a quick rundown. You've got several different options you can use here. I usually stick to these here at the upper half of this bottom panel, but you can actually use these down here to really fine-tune the mask. I'm not going to go into those in this video, it's kind of too complex for that, but Tony Kuiper actually has some fantastic videos on his website if you do go check out the panel that covers more in depth a lot of these buttons and how they allow you to fine-tune your mask. But hopefully that answers, briefly at least, the questions I've been getting about this panel and kind of what it does. And I touched a little bit on the luminosity mask. I'll be using them a lot more in some future videos. I wanted to go ahead and at least touch on them so that you knew what they were, and hopefully that'll be helpful to you guys in editing your photos. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those in the section below, and see you guys next week.